friends. I am so excited you're here today because I will be talking about some of my favorite thrillers I ended up reading in 2023. And yeah, let's get right into it because the list is kind of long. I read a ton of books this year. So yeah, I had a lot of winners, I feel like. Starting off with The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. I actually read this at the beginning of the year. It feels like 1,000 years ago now, but this is a winter setting, isolated setting thriller about a group of girls that get selected to go on a writing retreat with a very famous author, and stuff isn't what it seems. Let's just say that. This does get kind of kooky, but I actually really like kind of kooky and zany thrillers when they take that turn. It's just like more interesting for me. So yeah, definitely check out The Writing Retreat if you're looking for that winter isolated setting. Another winter and isolated setting is Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates, which I totally forgot to recommend this for winter horror. This is a very, very snowy, cold book, but it's also very, very gory, and it's like a whodunit slasher book. I do think it is more of a thriller than a horror book, but there is just some awesome gore in this where I was like, this is my favorite Coates book. Yes, it is. It's my favorite Darcy Coates book at the moment. And yeah, highly suggest this one if you're looking for another wintry read and like a bit of a mystery slasher. And another isolated setting thriller is The Last Word by Taylor Adams. This book was so like zany and kooky, but I had so much fun with it. The premise also hits a little close to home, I feel like. If you don't know the premise of this one, it is about a woman who gives a bad review, a 1-star review on an ebook, and that author comes after her, and it's fantastic. The best character in this, though, I do like our main character a lot, but I love Space Dog in this so much. And yeah, I just really liked where this story went and how crazy it got and how violent and yeah, gory. Obviously there's a trend here. I like my thrillers gory. And the next thriller I liked was actually a sequel to The Jigsaw Man by Nadine Matheson, and that is The Binding Room. This is actually a crime novel. We follow a detective, Angelica, who is, you know, going through it. I love detective stories. I know they're not everybody's cup of tea, but I love a good gritty procedural following the nastiest and the most evil, vile serial killer. So yeah, we're following, not to give too much away, but some stuff goes down in the first book. And you know, I like where this one goes. It goes into like a lot more of the PTSD side of what detectives face. And yeah, I thought it was a fantastic story. I just know Angelica, I think it's Angelica Houston, and is the main character in this detective. I'm just like, if she ever met me in person, she would roll her eyes at how ridiculous I am compared to how serious and she is, and she's going through so much stuff. And yeah, it's fun. I love these novels, and I can't wait for the third one. Speaking of serial killer books, I have a theme here: gore and serial killer thrillers. Stillhouse Lake and Kilman Creek by Rachel Kane. Both of these books go perfectly together, and I absolutely loved them. I did not think much of these when I started it. Honestly, I was doing, I think it's Escape the Readathon, and I was like, I need to read 50 books in a month. So I started listening to this because the audio is available on KU, and I was so hooked. I loved both of these. I still need to pick up the other ones, but we follow a family of a serial killer who gets caught right at the beginning, and this is like a Jeffrey Burdos, BTK killer, and like the story of their family being becoming also victims from his actions. I really loved where this story goes. It has such great framework for like how society is and how realistic the situation was, even though it is fictionalized. I love the action. It's very tense and it's just phenomenal. If you like serial killer thrillers, I highly suggest these two. And then the next thriller, I actually was very surprised of how much I ended up loving it, and that is All Her Little Secrets by Wanda M. Morris. I thought this was going to be a legal thriller. It's more of like a corporate thriller, which sounds even more boring. Like, why would I care? But it does start off with a murder, so it's like a murder mystery corporate lawyer thing going on. We follow a corporate lawyer who is trying to solve a murder at her workplace, but what she uncovers is so much more and so big. And also, this is one of those thrillers that you read and you're like, oh shit, that's probably happening, or that has happened, you know, in the past. So it pulls from like very real instances and history and stuff, which is just so fascinating to me and like kept me engaged. And it's so dark. It is so dark and disturbing. It's so great. I would say this is like one of those great like southern I don't want to say Southern Gothics, but maybe like a modern Southern Gothic in a way, like a V.C. Andrews, but corporate modern, you know, like minus what you're thinking right now. But yeah, definitely check out All Her Little Secrets if you're looking for a great I almost said lawyer thriller, legal thriller, corporate thriller, but also like murder mystery. And you guys know I had to talk about this one. I absolutely loved it, and that is The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I know a lot of people are like mixed about this one, but I thought this was a great way to end his run, I guess, of thrillers. This is, I was like, this is a period piece. No, it is like the 80s. The late 80s, a woman gets called to a notorious giant house that is on these rocks, as you can tell from the cover, and it is like very gothic, like V.C. Andrews style type of thriller, and the way the twists are done in this, it is like you get a bit of whiplash. You're like, whoa, 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 because we're getting the present timeline that has its own twist being revealed, but you're also getting a past timeline of what actually happened in this notorious family where there was a murder that took place. I think it was a couple of murders that took place, if I remember correctly. And yeah, it's just like whoosh, 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 and you're like, hold on a second, you know, let us get our bearings a bit. But that's what I liked about it. I liked how it was like, oh, and then this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and you're like, cool. That was me. And then it also has a very heartfelt ending where I teared up a bit, and you know, any book that makes me feel something is going to be 5 stars, because that is tough to do. The next thriller I really enjoyed this year was Delicate Condition by Danielle Valentine. I still have yet to watch any of American Horror Story that this is based off of. Actually, this book and the newest season of American Horror Story, I believe, were marketed and like promoted together, or like either the book was written before. It was like all kept in mind while doing it, you know. I don't know the process of that, but that intrigued me a little. But the story overall intrigued me. We follow a woman who has gone through IVF, and she's trying to have a baby, and she does get pregnant and then ends up losing the baby is what she is told, but she believes otherwise. This book has the most gaslighting I've ever read in a book, and that can be so frustrating because as a woman on earth, you're gaslit every day. So reading that in a book can be quite triggering. So just a heads up, that is a major content warning there. And also like miscarriages. I would look up a list if you're sensitive to all of that. But where this ended up, it was a bit predictable, but I really liked it. You know, we need more stories like this out there in the world. And the author's note was also like crazy. I actually did not know a lot of the statistics in her author's note. I was like, oh shoot, that is terrifying. So yeah, definitely check out Delicate Condition if you're looking for a good cast life book now. Yeah, if you're looking for something that is very modern but still has Rosemary's baby feels. So the last book on my list of best thrillers of 2023 is The Midnight is the Darkest Hour by Ashley Winstead. I do not recommend the audio for this one. I would do an ebook or a physical book because it was bad, the audiobook, but I loved the story so much. I still gave it 5 stars. So we follow a woman who lives in a very small town. She's been sheltered her whole life. Her daddy is the preacher of like this crazy, it's almost like snake handler Baptist fire and brimstone church in the South. And basically it starts off so good. It is like one of those shows, like it felt like a show, like you turn it on and you're like, I'm so hooked. It turns out with the town announcing that they found a skull in the swamp, and then we get a flashback. So it's a bit of a murder mystery, and you get like reveals in the past and you get reveals in the present. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it, and actually I think I talked about this when I talked about this book. The romance in this book actually worked for me. So if you guys have any romance situations, I guess it would be like the star-crossed lovers trope or whatever. I was like rooting for them. I was like, yay! And I don't usually care about any romances, but I was very much invested in this one. And yeah, I gave it 5 stars. The ending is what people seem not to like about this book, other than the audiobook part, but I absolutely love the ending. I think an ending like this is one of the bravest things you could ever do as a writer, and hats off to Ashley Winstead, and I'm so excited to see what thriller is next for her. So I do have some honorable mentions. These are just something maybe you want to check out if you want like a more dark thriller, but they definitely weren't 5-star reads for me. Starting with Shepherd of the Black Sheep by Christopher Triana. This one was available on KU. It's a very wintry thriller, isolated thriller in a small town. This is an evil kid's story, and I did enjoy it, but it just didn't quite make it to the 5-star mark for me. The next one is The Quiet Ones by Brandon Massey. So this one is one of those very zany, kooky thrillers that was just like kind of fun to read. Is it perfect? No. I did not give this 5 stars, but it was a good time, and it is also available on KU. So there you have it. Those were my favorite thrillers of 2023. Let me know some of your favorite thrillers from this past year, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Bye!